All right, go ahead and come to standing. And for a moment here, just feel for your weight on your feet. It's the force of gravity. And investigate center of gravity by leaning yourself forward a little bit until you feel your center of gravity is off and you're using your toes to hold on and keep yourself upright. And then go ahead and lean back and you feel center of gravity move back. And then go ahead and stack your pelvis over top of your feet in a way that feels like you're really agile and mobile. You could go any way over top of your feet because your center of gravity is there, right? It's not stiff, it's fluid. And then arrange your heart over that same space, arrange your head over that same space. Allow your arms to hang down by your side, maybe take a breath or two, encouraging the skin and the tissues that might be gripping or holding to soften. And then go ahead and start to bring in a deep breath. And if you'd like to layer on this visualization, I find it to be really helpful for kind of waking up in the morning. Bring your breath in through your nose, so deep breath through your nose. Imagine it wrap around your brain, weave its way down your spine to the very tip of the tailbone, and then imagine breath move up the spine, tracing the curves over the head, out the nose. So a few more of those, while also being aware, where is center of gravity? And is it mobile and fluid? Or is it stiff? And at this point, based on what you're tuning into, what you're noticing, go ahead and declare, how do you want to feel when you're done with our practice today? How would you like your body to feel? What do you want your attitude to be like? What about your energy level? What's important to you? What do you want to get out of this? And then as we make our way through the practice, you can recall that how you want to feel and embody it in the process. Go ahead and move your feet together, bring your hands onto your knees, and start to rotate the knees in one direction. And go ahead and glance down at your feet in order to use your sense of sight to increase the subtlety, your subtle awareness of what you're feeling, right? So if we're seeing the feet bones move, perhaps it's a little easier to feel the feet bones move. And then circle in the other direction. Move your awareness up under your hands and notice what you're feeling with your sense of touch. What are you feeling in the knees? And perhaps that feeling through your hands allows you to feel more deeply in the knee joint and in that connective tissue. Let that go. Come up to standing. Bring your feet a little wider than hip distance apart and begin to circle your hips. So use the motion, this very simple motion, as an opportunity to increase your ability to feel inside. You could bring your awareness into the joint level, like right there where the femur is moving inside the pelvic hinge, the hinge at the pelvic bowl, and all that connective tissue that holds the bones together, hugs the bones together. And then change the direction. Move your awareness to your low back. And feel for how this movement allows you to notice and check in with your low back, how it's doing today. Settle that movement down and come up to the upper back and rib cage. Begin to circle your arms back. As you do this, pay attention to your neck and position your head in a way where the exercise isn't aggravating to your neck. Bring your breath in. Bring your awareness to your shoulder blades, feeling for the way they glide down the ribs. They move apart and they move together. And then circle in the opposite direction. So now shoulder blades are really spreading apart. Notice where your weight is, your center of gravity is on your feet. Is it stiff? Are the knees locked? Right? Loosen up so you're in this kind of ready to move if you need to type of position. Settle that movement down and lower your left ear towards your left shoulder. Reach out through your right hand. Go ahead and make your feet active. So lift your toes, lift your arches, make your left hand active. Spread the fingers wide. Inhale, telescope your ribs. Exhale, soften through the right side of the neck. And bring a breath and your awareness into right side of the brain, the inner ear, the lymph glands, relax your right arm, roll your chin down to the center of your chest, let your head hang. Take a deep breath into the back of your neck. And then go ahead and use your hand to lift your head. Lower right ear towards right shoulder. Reach out through the left arm, stretch your fingers out wide, have your feet active. Inhale, lift up in heart. Exhale, reach your hands toward the earth. And then take a few rounds of deep breath through your nose. Go ahead and recall how do you want to feel when you're done? And then relax your arm. Go ahead, roll your chin to the center of your chest. Put a little bend in your knees. Let your head hang and feel your weight over your feet. And then just begin gently with the soft bounce exercise. So the soft bounce, we're creating that bounce at the knees. Allow your head to hang. And focus first on feeling the bounce at the back of your neck, at the thoracic outlet. So you really have to let the head hang and feel for that just bit of soft bounce at the top of your shoulders, the back of your neck, top of your shoulders. Allow those muscles that tend to hold and protect, coax them to soften. And then move your awareness to your belly and your pelvic floor. And feel the effects of the soft bounce in those parts of your body. There's a looseness, a buoyancy. It's like a little mini trampoline inside your body. And then settle that down, straightening the knees, place a hand on your forehead, and go ahead, lift your head up. All right, grabbing, if you have it, a dowel, a 1-inch dowel. If you don't, you can grab a strap or a belt. Bring the dowel behind your back. Have your hands about hip distance apart, thumbs pointing towards one another, feet about hip distance apart, active feet, and then inhale, telescope. Exhale, reach your hands out away from your body. Lengthen tailbone down toward the ground, so that's that pelvic tilt. And inhale into collarbones. Now, put a bend in the knees if you don't already have it. Reach the hips back and hinge at the hips to come forward into a bent knee forward bend. Allow your head to hang. Bring the arms forward. Just gently nod the head no. Nod the head yes, so you know your neck is relaxed. And a couple deep breaths here into shoulders. Put a bend in the knee. Squeeze and engage in the back body muscles, the glutes and the hamstrings. Lift up through your heart, so you're in spinal extension. And then use the glute muscles to bring your whole torso up. Let go of the dowel. Go ahead and bring it down to the ground. All right, so focusing on the back body muscles a bit more with just these very small squats. Shift the hips back, bring the belly so that it's open, seat down a little bit, bend the knees, and then on exhale, squeeze glutes and hamstrings to bring yourself up. So the idea with this exercise, the purpose of this exercise first, is to connect your awareness to the work in the back, lower body, back body muscles. Use those to create the motion of coming to standing. If you like, you can layer in arms. Definitely layer in breath. As best as you can, keep your awareness on back body muscles. And squeeze, maybe even bring your hips forward a little bit at the top. Strengthen the muscles below the low back. And more than strengthen here, we're strengthening our ability to engage them. All right, and then let that go. And bring your weight so it's over your left foot. We're going to balance on one leg. So feel for drawing up through the inner thigh, lift up through pelvic floor, and then pick right foot up off of the ground and begin to create a little pendulum swing. Bring your breath in, Feel for looseness in the hanging hip, in the right hip. The left hip has to be stable, the left leg has to be stable, but right hip is loose. You can keep the movement small, or you can bring more swing in there. With balance, if you're working with balance, lift up through the top of your head. Instead of looking down at the ground as much, look out in front of you. And then settle that movement down. And we'll move to the other side. So now right leg, standing leg, draw up at the pelvic floor, lift up left leg, and just allow the pendulum to happen. That looseness in the hip. And then as you like, you can increase the movement, increase the momentum. Keep the deep breath going. And then settle that down. All right, grab a block and go ahead, stand on the block with your left foot, left leg. And then go ahead and be on the tips of your right toes. From there, we work with that, what I call the zip up from the arch. It's a lifting in the arch, lifting in the inner knee, through the inner thigh, drawing up in pelvic floor, lifting through the torso, and then the foot comes off the ground, lifting through the top of the head. And from here, so oblique muscles on the side body here, contract them to draw the right hip up. And you can flex the foot and then lower the right hip down. Draw up and lower, up and lower. Yeah, and with this one, if balance is challenging, you could hold on to something and get a lot from the exercise. Yes, it's about balance, but at first it's about getting that movement and stability in the standing hip and isolating the work over here in the oblique muscles. And feeling for the hanging versus contracting, hanging, totally relaxed versus contracting. All right, and we can come off of that side. It also makes my standing leg calf burn a whole bunch. So switching sides here. And again, come into the balance by incorporating the mindfulness zip up. Zip up, engaging those muscles, lifting up through pelvic floor, through the torso and the top of the head. And then draw the hip up towards the ribs, let it relax and hang completely. And then lift up and lower. Use the exercise to investigate your anatomy, right? Notice what's working. Notice the heat that's building. Yeah, and I would say like if this exercise is challenging or it feels unsafe in any way, definitely hanging on to something so that you can make the movement a little slower and get comfortable with it. All right, come down off of that. And then up near the top of your mat, let's have a few rounds of half sun salutations. Exhale, bring your hands to the center of your chest. Feel your center of gravity over your feet. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale into your forward fold. Allow your head to hang. Bring your hands to your shins. Straighten the arms, legs, extend the spine, hang your head. Exhale, forward fold. Use your glutes and hamstrings. Inhale, rise up to chair, and exhale to stand. Inhale, chair pose, breath over your brain. Exhale, forward fold, let go of all the air. Inhale, extended spine, breath over your brain. Exhale, forward fold, let your head hang. Bend your knees more. Weight over the arches of your feet. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. The next round, embodying the posture of how you want to feel when you're done, right? So cultivate that attitude and bring it into this sequence. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale to stand. Place your thumbs on your breastbone. Arrange your center of gravity right over top of the center of your feet. And feel your heartbeat with your thumbs. Bring your hands down and let's come into a Malasana, a deep squat. If deep squat isn't accessible for you today, come into half squat with your elbows onto your knees. Draw the head forward and let your head hang. For Malasana or the deep squat, you can elevate your heels if you like. Or maybe you don't want to elevate your heels or not as much. Breathe into low back. And then go ahead, come forward, roll over your toes, come to knees and forearms. Measure your elbow distance, wrap your fingers around your upper arms, interlace your fingers, and move your knees back to come into forearm plank with or without your knees on the ground. You could curl toes under and lift the knees. Draw your heart forward. Lengthen your tailbone towards your heel so you feel your belly turn on. Let your head hang. And take a few rounds of deep breath here. All right, and then come up, walk your knees in a bit. Shift yourself back to dolphin prelude, hips move back, forearms off the ground, but elbows stay planted. Reach back through the hips. Let your head hang. And feel for the pull that you're creating through side body. Breathe into it. And then go ahead, come forward, come up to your hands and curl your toes under, sit back onto your heels. So with this one, sometimes a blanket or a towel rolled up in between the back of your thigh and the calf can put not as much bend in the knees. If it's challenging to bend your knees a lot, you could also come up to tall kneeling. So different options. We've got that great foot stretch going on. And then bring your hands out front. Palms are facing toward one another, then turn so the backs of the hands are facing towards one another. Cross your right arm over left, interlace the fingers. Take an inhale. And on exhale, go ahead and bring the hands through and move towards straightening. Lift up in heart. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. And take a breath, remembering how you want to feel when you're done. And maybe you turn it into an I am statement. All right, and then go ahead, unwind from that. Unclasp. Let's take a break between sides for the ankles. So come on forward and roll your ankles around, roll the feet around, get some circulation back in there. And then curl your toes under. Come back for the same stretch. And this time we are crossing backs of the hands together, cross left over right. Be willing to investigate here by bringing your awareness into the wrist and the forearms and the elbow and that really interesting position you're putting your hands in. Breathe into what you're feeling. And then come out of that. Come forward. Roll the ankles around a bit. And on hands and knees, pull your belly up and in a little bit. And right hand, begin to take the weight off of it, but keep the skin of the hand in contact with the mat. So not really any weight on the right hand now. Weight is on the left hand. And feel for the work in your belly muscles. Then go ahead and replace the weight back on the right hand. Feel how the work goes away in the belly muscles. And then come back to left hand. Now right side of the body is bracing to stabilize. So keep your eye on that bracing and just shift weight back and forth. Something about this one reminds me of like when a cat is kneading. There's something light and panther-like about this for me. So you're moving, you're shifting your weight back and forth, but it's so subtle. Strengthen your awareness of your core musculature. Okay, and we'll work with that again here in a moment. But first, cross one ankle over the other, come back to seated on your sit bones. And then go ahead and turn your hands around so that your fingers are pointing in towards the shins. Reach the first knuckle of your palm on your up by your palm down towards the ground. So that first line of knuckles, but keep the heel of the hand lifted. And then inhale, telescope the ribs, draw your shoulders away from your ears. And breathe into what you're feeling. From there, Reach the heel of your hand down towards the ground. Might not go all the way. It might go all the way if you round your back and pull your shoulders up by your ears, but keep your shoulders drawing down, heart lifting up. But then look down at your elbow creases or that little divot there. It's called the elbow fossa, and rotate the two elbow fossas in towards one another. And feel for the stretch that just turned on. Breathe into it. All right, come out of that. Bring your hands into fists. Just create some small circles to release that. And then go ahead and come forward, back to hands and knees. Walk your knees back and come into a half plank. Now feel for stabilizing your center of gravity over the 4 points of contact. Lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. And then we'll make our way towards that same exercise we were doing on hands and knees. So slowly start to shift the weight off of right hand, but you could leave the skin in contact. Feel for the bracing of the core musculature, and then weight replaces on right hand. Taking the weight off a left hand, feel for the bracing. And let that go. And now, switching back and forth by picking up one hand, tapping the opposite shoulder. Keep your breath going and go back and forth here. Of course, this exercise could be done on your toes as well. If it was a day where you feel really strong and just wanted to pour it on and challenge yourself. So witnessing that work and the bracing of the core musculature and the way it shifts from side to side. All right, let that go. Shift back into child's pose here for a moment. Breathe into low back. And then coming up, curl your toes under. Shift yourself back to Malasana or deep squat. Go ahead and draw your heart forward, your shoulders away from your ears. Get a couple breaths into hips, into the feet, and the skin that wraps around your heels. And then rock forward so you can bring fingers to the ground. Lift hips, come into a forward fold, hanging your head. Make your feet active and roll up really slowly using back body muscles. So you could squeeze in glutes and hamstrings, pull the pubic bone and the muscles just above it in towards the spine. Feel your low back open up. Really get slow here. Pull the belly in, pull the belly button in, pull the space between belly button and ribs in. Rolling all the way up. All right, good. So with hands on the hips, and then here we are, center of gravity is over the 2 feet. Shift your weight to right foot, pick up left foot. Torso comes forward, leg comes back so that you can set the toes down. Set yourself up for crescent lunge. Curl tailbone under, hopefully, or if you're, I would say, if you're like me, You'll get a sensation of a pull across the top of the thigh and the hip. Telescope the ribs. Reach your arms up. Wrap the shoulders. And a couple breaths here, Crescent Lunge. And then go ahead, bring your hands to your hips. Bring your torso forward. So we're looking at a weight change. We're basically going to hover our weight over the right foot and bent knee. Chest moves forward. So where's center of gravity? Hover over the knee, press down through the foot, and then draw left knee into the chest. Straighten left knee. Draw the knee into the chest. And here we go to shift back. So heel towards the glute, torso forward, right knee bends, reach back with the toes, set them down. Inhale, Crescent Lunge. Again, hands to the hips, torso forward, little hop to hover over the front leg, draw the knee to the chest to stand, straighten, knee to chest, set the foot down. Switching sides, weight onto left leg, and then pick the right foot up, shift the torso forward, right heel to glute, left knee bends, centering your gravity. Your center of gravity is over the foot. Place the foot down. Inhale, Crescent Lunge. Curl the tailbone under. Telescope the ribs. Pull low ribs in. Breathe into the stretch. Hands to your hips. Torso comes forward. Left knee is bent. Shift weight. You're hovering over that bent leg. Come to stand. Knee to chest. Straighten the leg. Knee to chest. Shift weight. Right heel to right glute. Left knee begins to bend. Set the toes down. Crescent Lunge. And again, weight change, torso forward, weight over the front foot, knee to chest, straighten the leg, knee to chest, 2 feet on the earth. Bring your hands to the center of your chest. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold, and hang out there for a minute. Bring your feet a little wider. Clasp your elbows. Hang your head. And maybe there's a little sway that wants to come in, or a little bounce. And one more time into Malasana. So let go with the hands. Seat yourself down. All right, and then maybe with your feet closer together, knees come wide apart. You can bring your heart forward and hands forward as a counterbalance so that you seat down, come to cross-legged. And for our 1-minute meditation, go ahead and take the seat that is just right for you. I'm going to sit up on a block. You can place your hands onto your thighs. It's a posture, so arrange your heart over your center of gravity. Draw your chin back so your brain is over your center of gravity. Slightly lower the chin so you open up the back of the neck and the base of the skull. Maybe take a breath or two in the spirit of a sigh. If you have any jaw tension, you can open your mouth wide. And then settle the breath. And bring your awareness into the space of the witness of breath. Feel for the sensations in your nose, the sensations in your throat, and the sensations of your lungs inflating and deflating. And feel for creating an inner smile at the back of your tongue. It's just a very gentle, barely noticeable lifting up at the back of your tongue. And feel for creating that inner smile in your heart and at the backs of your eyes. Recalling your intention, how you want to feel when you're done. Breathe that in. And either having your hands on your lap still, or you can bring hands onto your body, or placing your palms together into the prayer palms mudra. Take a deep breath infused with gratitude. This is an invitation. Take a deep breath infused with gratitude back to your body. It's gratitude back to body for all it holds for you, all that it has carried and will continue to carry. And thank you for being here. Thank you for your practice. Namaste.